What's good, YouTube fam? It's your boy Wins, and we back. Finally, I know it's been a minute, almost like a year. But as you can see, things changed in here, you know what I'm saying? But today we talking about how to find your BPM in your Pro Tools session. And no, we not about to just upload it to the website, which we not gonna name right here, because that's the easy way. And it's also the amateur way of going about it, man. We want to be samurais when it comes to engineering, right? So we're gonna figure out how to do it without those external websites.
Whoa, it's wins all day.
Let's go ahead and dive right into Pro Tools. We're gonna act like the tempo is not labeled in the name. Sometimes you get work from clients and it just won't have the BPM associated with it. So we're gonna figure out how to do that. To do that, what I like to do is I like to just make sure I'm in grid mode, just because that's the easiest way to just kind of make sure you have like a single bar loop or just a loop in general. So we'll make sure we're in grid mode up here in the left corner. All right, we see that's good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a tool inside Pro Tools called Identify Beat. All right, so we're gonna zoom in just a little bit more, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna play 2 bars of the instrumental or the sound that we want to find the BPM of, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use Identify Beat to basically guesstimate what it believes the BPM is, and then we're gonna adjust it manually, and you'll see it sounds a little more complicated than it really is, but you'll see. So let's just go ahead and get a quick preview of the sound we're working with. All right. Cool. So that's basically the sound that we're working with right now. You want to identify a super percussive section of the instrumental or sound that you're working with, and you want to basically section off a 2 bar segment to give Pro Tools enough to work with and identify the beat. All right, so to basically create this section, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the down arrow key to start the initial selection, and then we're gonna use the up arrow key to finish off that 2 bar loop. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and make our section. I can see that right here. Percussive elements start to come in because the sound wave starts going crazy. But all right, cool. So we'll just actually pick somewhere towards this end. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna press the down arrow key. Now. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3 hit. You wanna make sure that you hit on the beat after that 2 bar loop, or else you're not getting that full 2 bar loop and it's gonna throw your BPM off. So just keep that in mind. The way you wanna count that out is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3. And on that 3 is when you hit the up arrow key to finish off that 2 bar loop. All right. Cool. So now that we have our 2 bar selection, what you want to do is you want to be very careful. Make sure you zoom in very tight. And then what you want to do is you want to hold the control and shift keys, and then you want to adjust the beginning and the end of your selection. You want to make sure that it starts at the very begin of that first transient of the downbeat, and then you want to make sure that you're getting the whole 2 bars at the end right before that next transient as well. So we're just gonna zoom in like that, and then holding the shift and control key, we're gonna bring this selection back just like that. And then we're gonna actually zoom in some more, because that way we can really see where this transient is starting and get a more accurate reading of what the BPM is. Okay, so as you can see, we're zoomed in super tight, and you can see where like the wave is going up just a little and then it's coming right back down. And these points where it seems like it's flat and there's no audio response, those are called zero crossing points. So when you make cuts, you want to try your best to to start and end your cut on a zero crossing point, because that's what a point where no audio signal is coming through. And if you achieve that, you won't even have to make fades on your audio clips, man. Like, if you're a real engineer and you work on a lot of tracks and mixes and stuff, you know when it comes to vocal comping, oh my goodness, boy, the fade is your best friend. You dig? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna zoom in super tight. We're gonna make sure that we're on a zero crossing point, and it does look like we are. But I'm gonna actually bring this selection back a little bit further by holding Control and Shift, and I'm gonna bring it back to around here. Cool. All right, now we're gonna zoom out and we're gonna find that end of the selection. My bad, didn't mean to play that, but all right, cool. So we're gonna find the end of the selection. All right, cool. Zoom in really tight. All right. So we can see, looking at this waveform, that the end of this 2-bar loop and the beginning of the next transient is right here, and we can actually see like a little spike right there to kind of confirm that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold Control Shift one more time, and we're gonna bring that selection right there, and then zoom in some more, and then we're gonna look for that zero crossing point, and I believe we're right here on the money with it. Actually, yeah, right here on the money with it. Okay, cool. So now to verify, what we'll do is we'll zoom back out, and then we'll go ahead and give it a spin. All right, cool. Go ahead and zoom out, and now we're gonna hit Control I to bring up Identify Beat to lock in that tempo. All right, cool. So now you can see that the Identify Beat window has popped up. What you want to do is where it says Start, you want to make this bar 1, and then the end, you want to make it bar 3. And the reason why you want to do that is because we just made a 2-bar selection. Now the beginning of where it actually starts in our music, that doesn't matter. But we need to tell Pro Tools how long of a selection we actually made, so that they know we've selected a 2-bar loop, and it doesn't really matter where it starts and ends, okay? Because we just need the tempo of this 2-bar loop, all right? So we're gonna hit OK. And you can see right up here above where we made our selection that it's saying that our tempo is 139.86 and some change. You feel me? And that don't look like a BPM to me, all right? That look like somebody like wait or something, you dig? So we gonna clean up this BPM, and that's what I was talking about earlier, by manually adjusting it, because it's not all the way on the dime. It's really dependent on how good your selection is. So my selection was probably just a teeny bit off, so therefore it thought the BPM was a little bit, you know what I'm saying, slower than it really is. So we can look at this and round. Everybody should know by this point rounding rules, all right? So we're gonna round up to 140, and then we're gonna zoom out, and then we're gonna click that red diamond, and then drag it all the way to the end of the beginning of the session. And that way it's just gonna reset the value and default it, and make it easier for us to actually change the value. And then that little white flag, if it still not allow you to change the value of the BPM, what you want to do is just take that flag you just saw me doing, you want to just drag it to the start of the timeline, and then that should fix your problem. And then if not, just zoom in a little bit more, and then you'll see something like this, and you want to just drag that as well. Actually, yeah, you want to just drag that to the beginning of your session as well, and then double click that red diamond, and now it's gonna bring up your tempo box. All right, so now it told us that the BPM was 69 and some change. We're gonna go with 70, and we're gonna see how close that brought us to the actual BPM. And to do that, we're gonna basically go to in grid mode, of course, because that way you can ensure that your audio, as far as your transients, they start and end on the grid. Okay. All right. And so we just click this grid point right here, which is telling us that this is the beginning of bar 5. And if it starts on the downbeat of our song on our audio file, we know we're pretty close to the actual tempo. But we're gonna let it play out a little bit, because the more you let the audio play out, the more you can tell how on or off beat it is. So actually what we're gonna do is, instead of playing it, we're gonna go to like further in our music, and we're gonna click a grid line further along in the session, and then we're gonna play it from there and see if it starts on a downbeat. If it starts exactly on a downbeat, we know our tempo is pretty much on point. All right, and if it doesn't, then we know we're gonna have to adjust accordingly. Okay, and as you heard that, it was like the ending of a previous bar, and then the transient came in for that new beat. See that? Like, so it's right there, and we're actually gonna zoom in just to see how. Okay, so we're about that much off. So what we're gonna do is, since we can see that we're in halftime right now, I would recommend doubling your tempo. So then that way it may solve that problem. All right, cool. So now we can check it out. Now let's go to further point in the audio, click a selection on the grid, and we can hear that it's still like through, like, but it's consistent. That's the thing you want to check for. You want to make sure that at every like bar, at the start of every bar that you're clicking, that it has a consistent sound, meaning that it sounds like it's the exact distance from the beginning of that transient in every part of the song. Then you know that your session is locked to the tempo of your audio file. And we can see that we did a pretty good job of that right there. So that's how you do it, guys. That's how you find the tempo of any audio file in your Pro Tools session without using them external websites that we ain't gonna name here. You dig? Alright, so it's been real. Until next time, and I promise it won't be a year. I'ma catch you later. It's your boy Wins, and I'm out.
Whoa, it's Wins all day.